What's good? All right, in this video, we're going to talk about Gary Russell Jr. calling out Gervonta Davis again and Leo Santa Cruz, and talk about, man, how that could be such an exciting fight, man, and follow up on this great fight we had last weekend. And so that's what we're going to discuss in this video right after this. All right, Gary Russell Jr. talking that good smack. Got up this morning after an incredible Game of Thrones episode, man. Daenerys Targaryen went crazy. I loved every second of it. And I was on Twitter, which I rarely am on, and I ran across a tweet that somebody shared where Gary Russell Jr. was talking big smack about Gervonta Davis to this, I forget what the name of the rapper is out of Philly, but basically what he said was that calling out Gervonta Davis, saying, man, Gervonta Davis making the DMV look bad, making the DMV look real soft, the way that he's getting his career carried, and how he don't want to fight anybody dangerous, and Floyd making them dudes look real bad, and how he need to fight Gary Russell Jr. So Gary Russell Jr. talking that good old smack. I like it. And I hope that fight happens, man. I really do. And it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm not a big Twitter dude, but I'm getting more active on Twitter, getting more active on Facebook. So, I'll probably be doing more videos about this side of boxing, because after last weekend with Jarrett Hurd and J-Rock, man, the thing that I really liked about that particular fight was the rivalry, the regional rivalry, right? That's a part of boxing that I don't think about a lot, but I think is really important, man. It adds a lot of flavor to it, right? So like last weekend, you had J-Rock fight Hurd. That's the Philadelphia versus the DMV, and on the channel we just had so much conversations going on between guys from the DMV and guys from Philadelphia. Now, if you're not from the United States, let me explain to you what that is. That is the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So, the capital of the United States is in Washington, DC, and Washington, DC is bordered by two states, Maryland and Virginia. So within driving range, within 15, 20 minutes of each other, you can get to in DC, into Virginia, or into Maryland. And that is where Gary Russell Jr. is from. That's where Jarrett Hurd is from. Not too far up the street is Philadelphia. I mean, a couple hours away, not too long, not too far from there. In the grand scheme of things, you got Philadelphia. In Philadelphia, that's where J-Rock is from. And so you got to see that the my city versus your city aspect of boxing, man, which is, man, in a lot of ways, man, that's as fun to watch as the people fighting for specific belts, because it's more natural. It's more, it's generated from people that fight each other in the amateurs, right? Man, I just really like that, man. And so I really do hope that more fights like that can be made between rival cities. You also have Detroit. Like Detroit, for people who aren't in the United States, Detroit is one of the biggest producer of champions that there is in boxing, is the Michigan area. So, some people get mad at me when I say Detroit, but it's really Lansing, or it's really, Flint, Michigan, right? But, the Michigan area, there's so many great champions that came from there. So to see that, that type of banter go back and forth between on social media, from a guy from the DMV talking about a guy from Baltimore, and Baltimore, man, is, there's an airport that they share there. Was it BWI? Baltimore, I think that's a Baltimore, Washington International, BWI, but that's where you fly into, and you can drive. You go one direction, you drive to Baltimore. The other direction, you go to DC. So that's just right in that area. And he was talking to a rapper who's, you gotta forgive me, man. I'm not the most. I don't recall these guys' names too well, man. But I've seen them quite a bit on social media, just talking mess with Cat from Philly. So, man, it was really, really exciting to see. I hope that fight happens, because Gary Russell Jr. is right. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is treating Gervonta Davis like he's fragile, right? Not like he's fragile in that the guy can't fight. I mean, maybe fragile is the wrong word. He's being so selective in the fighters that he's having Gervonta Davis fight. And there is this methodology that Floyd Mayweather Jr. used in the latter part of his career, where every guy that he was fighting had a Spanish last name. Because what they're trying to do, at least this is my impression of what he's trying to do, is he's trying to use that dynamic of Spanish-speaking fans and black fans both wanting to see their guy win, and as a result, the numbers go up. And I think that is, for large fights where there's a lot of interest in it on both sides, I think that really does work a lot of times. But don't overlook the fact that you got these regional rivalries that can take place. And Gervonta Davis needs to fight. If Gary Russell Jr. is serious about it, like serious about moving up in weight, like obviously Gervonta Davis is not going to move down to 126 pounds. But if Gary Russell Jr. is serious about it and he's contacting their team to make that fight, man, if they don't have something else going on after this mandatory fight with Nunes that Gervonta Davis has coming on, man, you need to make that fight. You need to make that fight. You need to make that fight for Gervonta. You need to make that fight for the fans, because that is going to be an electric event. Okay, if you were going to make a fight between Gervonta Davis and Abner Mares, and Abner Mares was not a champion at 126 pounds. He lost to Leo Santa Cruz, and he lost to Leo Santa Cruz convincingly. Why not Gary Russell Jr.? And it will be a big name on his resume. It's the same guy. It's the same guy that put up a good fight with Vasily Lomachenko some years back. Man, there's a whole lot of reasons to make that fight. Now, the other guy that Gary Russell Jr. was talking about was Leo Santa Cruz. And people from this channel know, man, I ain't got a lot of time. I don't got a lot of trust. I don't have a lot of patience for Leo Santa Cruz, because Leo Santa Cruz is extremely selective in who he fights as well. He fought Carl Frampton. He fought Abner Mares. He's a good, solid fighter, but man, he ran away from Guillermo Rigondeaux like the plague. They all did. Abner Mares too. If he's not willing to fight if he wasn't willing to fight Guillermo Rigondeaux, I'm not sure how willing he's going to be to fight Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. even though I don't think that Gary Russell Jr. is as skilled as Guillermo Rigondeaux is, and they possess different skill sets. Like Gary Russell Jr. ain't just gonna screw around and break your jaw, right? Like just and your shit just snap, stuff just snap. That's not going to happen with Gary Russell Jr. But Gary Russell Jr. is going to keep that pressure on you, keep that pressure on you, keep that pressure on you. He's going to let them hands go, man. He's very, very slick, slippery on the inside, man. And I just think that'd be a great fight, but I just don't see Leo Santa Cruz taking that fight. And so my hope is for the Gervonta Davis fight, man. At a certain point in time, man, Gervonta Davis is going to have to get in there and fight one of these guys from that region, man. That's just something that I just don't think is, man, I just don't like about, I don't want to say I don't like about the later part of Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s career. I wasn't too impressed by that, man. There was black fighters he could have fought. He could have fought Keith Thurman. He could have fought Paul Williams. And I think those would have been really good, entertaining fights. But, he was going for that mix of crowds, that peanut butter and chocolate make Reese's type of situation. And, it paid off for him monetarily. But at the same time, man, it really didn't allow us to get to see some of the really good fights that we could have in our own community, man. Just like we had last week with J-Rock versus Jarrett Hurd, man. That was an excellent fight that wouldn't be taking place if Jarrett Hurd just was like, you know what, I would love to fight J-Rock, but no, I'm gonna fight Jaime Munguia. Oh, I'm gonna fight, we're gonna fly somebody up from Mexico, and let's fight them. And and they wouldn't fight each other, man. You would continue to think that J-Rock, all you would think about when you think of J-Rock is how he got knocked out by Charlo and never would have got a shot to redeem himself if those guys weren't pushing at those regional fights. Same thing for Texas, man. There could be some great regional fights there too. You got Virgil Ortiz. Man, what is his name, man? I love this fighter. I always forget his name. Figueroa, Spence. All these guys from Texas, man, can fight each other. But then you're going to get those rivalries between, Texas. This one good one coming up between Texas and Detroit with Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo. So anyway, it is what it is, man. That's my thoughts on it. Hopefully these fights can happen. And with that, I'm out. Peace.